Hello and welcome back, noobs and noob slayers. What is up, guys? Diz Tactical here, and today we're going to be going over Arma Reforger's Conflict game mode. And the reason why I'm going to be doing this guide series is because, well, the Xbox release and the PlayStation 5 release. You know, there's a lot of new players, and I understand Arma Reforger can be overwhelming. So I'm here to help you guys with some basic in-depth guides, and this one's going to be strictly about the game mode Conflict. Now, obviously, Conflict is the PvP-focused game mode. One of the things you're going to want to focus on in Conflict game mode is understanding the buildings that you can place, logistics, supplies, as well as kind of just the overarching connected web that is the relay system. So once you kind of figure out those things, you'll be able to become a master in absolutely no time. Important thing what you're going to want to do is, as soon as you guys start a match, you might think, oh yeah, let's go build an arsenal. No. If you do that, please just jump into that water right there. It is the worst thing possible to do is to build an arsenal right off the start of the game. As soon as the game starts, what you and your team need to do is to build the radio relay station. This is something that is absolutely important, because if you don't have it, then you can't even, well, take the next point. It's very all right. Now that we essentially have this built, you're going to see what happens. Boom, available, seize farm. What this does is open up our opportunity to capture more points. As you can see here, our area influence has expanded. Now on the larger map, Everund, I think this, yeah, it is. That one, it's a lot more complex with the radio relays. Not really, but as you can see, there's a network. So green means you can start to capture it. However, if this was red, it would mean that the enemy has it under their control, but it just means that we have intel to see if the enemy have it. Now you can see Idaho. We cannot extend that far because we don't have a radio relay at farm, or we do not have Signal Hill. If we had Signal Hill, we would be able to also take the rest of this map. And it's something that is very, very important as well, is these little relay stations on the map that you don't have to build. These ones are very, very large and are also something that is important. However, the likelihood of you being able to hold it is going to be a little bit challenging, because the enemy, all they need to do is just walk up and press a button. Alrighty, we're going to be going over logistics now in conflict mode. Logistics is arguably the most important thing when it comes to base functionality, besides holding it. So every base has an amount of supplies, as you can see here. It's that little crate, and every single time you build a new facility, it expands the overall storage of the base. So as you can see, this only has 4,900, but if we go and build something else, it'll expand it even more. Every single building has a storage supply limit, which, as you can see here, there's some boxes. There's also some boxes over here and over there. So every single place is going to have a visual representation of what it looks like, and you can probably tell if it's going to have any more space. So make sure you keep an eye on that, and make sure you're building more places. Even arsenals have a storage space for supplies. One thing you want to make sure you're paying attention to, ladies and gentlemen, is the amount of supplies that your vehicle can hold. So as you can see, this truck can hold 600 supplies. You're obviously going to want to find something that has the most amount, so you can kind of just stack up that base. Next up, you want to do is go ahead and open up your map and look for one of these zones. So one of these things are a storage point, and what that storage point is going to do is allow you to go load up on juicy supplies and head back and fill up your base. Or what you can do is take the lazy route, steal from one of your other bases, and deliver to another. But it's something that's typically not recommended because, well, you know, you might need the supplies. However, if it's somewhere where you know you're not going to need them, then by all means, go ahead. Now, when you get to these supply points, it's going to be defended by AI guards. As you can see, I'm just barreling in here because I don't care. I own this place. And then you're going to want to stop at one of these supply depots, as you can see here. And they're going to be able to basically hold your supplies. Pretty straightforward. And then you're going to want to walk up to the back here and load your supplies. And there's another way you can do it much quicker if you really want. You can go up next to the depot here. Ooh, whoops. You can go up next to the depot as right here, click F, and then, well, on control it's gonna be different, and then you can select the supplies and drag them over, or click and then move them over like that. Not entirely sure how it goes on the controller, but now one very, very important thing that you want to do when you're driving back to base is make sure you kind of don't go too fast, and kind of pay attention with the roads and driving in Arma. It's very unpredictable, and you can end up flipping and just ruining a solid supply run. And once we're here, you're going to want to get out of your vehicle, and I've done this pretty well. with my base design where I could pretty much unload anywhere I want. As you can see, I can load it here, I can load it there, or I can load it somewhere else. Honestly, you don't have to do it for this, but it makes it significantly easier when it comes to resupplying the base. So I would recommend probably doing some sort of layout like this, but obviously some sort of terrain restrictions are going to prevent you from obviously having something similar. But yeah, so that's pretty much logistics. Next up, we're going to be going over the different types of buildings and what they do for your base. So obviously the first one we have is the light vehicle spawner. The light vehicle spawner is something that lets you spawn your Jeeps and yeah, and then next up here we have our heavy vehicle depot or spawner. It allows us to spawn our trucks or BTRs when they add the LAV 25. It has a very large storage capacity, which is huge for the base supplies. And then next up here we have the fuel depot. Now the fuel depot is really unique because, well, no one really uses it. That's why it's unique. It's pretty straightforward. You can walk up here and then turn around and fill up your truck or whatever you want. And then same thing, you can kind of just walk up to these different types of arsenals, grab equipment, and as you can see, you have a little wrench right here. And just to show you, these all act as a vehicle repair point, and some of the time you're going to need to actually bring a vehicle back here. Honestly, the only type of vehicles that I think you'll need to do this with are probably helicopters, in all honesty. But now that we've done quite a bit of damage to this truck, I'm going to go show you some of the cool stuff that you can do when it comes to repairing at these vehicle points. So as you can see, critical damage, and you need supplies for. Same thing, critical damage. So these will all act as a repair point for the vehicle, and then as long as you have supplies around it, you can repair it. Now we have the living quarters. The living quarters is something that makes it so your base will be able to sustain enemy attacks by allowing you to spawn in AI defenders, as seen here. And these defenders are actually okay. They get the job done, and honestly, they allow you ample time to establish a defense because they act as another player, essentially. And it also means the enemy won't build a cap as fast, which is huge. And another one of these things that is really critical to your base is it reduces upkeep for supply costs. So, as we talked about earlier in the video, every single kit costs supplies. What the living quarters does is reduces that cost, and then if you build the even bigger one, it reduces it significantly more, which I think you could probably get like up to, I mean, as we saw at the main base, it was practically free. So those are definitely a must-have. I would say at least this with a smaller version is a must-have for your base. Now, as also discussed with the earlier in the video, another one of the important things is the radio relay station. Obviously, you're going to want to place it down and your base to connect the radios even larger so you can keep capturing more places. You want to place this probably a little bit further away, as what it's going to do is act as another spawn point. Same for all these other places. They act as other spawn points as well. Then we have next up the ammunition supply. Ammunition supply allows you to get those custom arsenal kits that end up sucking up the entire supplies of the base, because people love to just go crazy with it. Then next up here we have the helipad. It's honestly, if you don't know what it is, then I don't know what to tell you. But this does hold a significant amount of supplies, so that is also another must-have at a lot of your bases if, you know, obviously you want to have it as like a logi hub. And that's pretty much all the straightforward ones. The floodlight's pretty, it's self-explanatory. It just allows you to have more light. And then the field hospital, actually, I don't know too much about it. I think it reduces the cost of like first aid. And so as you can see, now I'm gonna show you guys the. Well, now I'm going to show you guys the purple or the main points that you're going to want to capture in conflict. And at the start of the match, they're going to be pretty heavily fortified relatively compared to the other points at the start with the independents. However, these are very important, obviously, because you need them to win, but also because they generate the most amount of supplies. And as you can see, once you've essentially cleared all the enemies out of the purple area, what's going to happen, obviously, is you're going to cap it. And then I want everyone to go ahead and take a gander, though, at this. On most servers, you're actually going to get a lot of supplies. It's not going to be 200 or 500. It's normally not what happens. It's only because this is a smaller map. But most servers are going to give it a bunch of supplies, which then you're going to be able to fortify it relatively quickly and get something going compared to the smaller points. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this basic guide to the game mode Conflict. As you know, it's very kind of overwhelming at first when new players start the game. So thank you guys so much again for watching. Until next time.